Okay, we are going live on YouTube. Then I'll.
कैमरा घुमा या मैडम को घुमा? कुर्सी ना थोड़ा सा
नहीं, वो टीचर प्रेसिडेंट टाइम से दिखना चाहिए ना पीछे।
हाँ, फ्लैग भी दिख रहा है।
तो मैडम को थोड़ा सा मैडम को स्टार्ट करना है। वो चेयर उधर लेंगे प्रिंटर की तरफ घुमा दें
थोड़ा सा।
आप यही रहना, तुम्हें कुछ लग गया तो सो दैट यू कैन रन अराउंड। लगेगा तो नहीं वैसे बार हो जाने के बाद।
वो कैमरा में सब बोलो थोड़ा सा इधर चलिए।
क्या बोलना मैंने?
आप थोड़ा सा लेफ्ट एंगल
इधर करना है इधर?
आपको
टाइम हो गया तो फिर चालू करो।
ऐसे
गुड तो वो
दैट्स ओके।
चित्रा जी, मैं व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेज कर दूंगा जब लाइव स्टार्ट हो जाएगा तो।
Okay.
वो हाँ जी, वो लगता है कुछ ओवरलोडेड है। वी आर ट्राइंग टू गो थ्रू YouTube।
Okay. Just
जी।
change the screen name for CG madam.
कहाँ पर?
CG screen name for CG madam.
अच्छा अच्छा।
Because I cannot do it on the iPad and by something.
Oh, okay okay।
As you let us know when you're live.
I will on YouTube.
नहीं हाँ मैंने तो जरूरत पड़ेगा आपको
यहीं पे बैठो पास में, इधर का दूर जा रहा है। यू कैन सिट। I don't know how we are doing.
No, it was the King Kuru ma'am. I checked it.
Okay.
ना आपका नाम चेंज कर।
आवाज नहीं, दीपक आवाज आ रही है।
It's the same as, I've muted it from here. It's the same as your computer. All you have to do is click mute from there if you need to. Okay.
Starting.
You want me in here? Yes.
Prakash, you're on. All right. Namaste, everyone. I sincerely apologize for the technical details. As you all can imagine that many people are using the Zoom and we have to work through a different channel. We are extremely sorry about it. I'm really delighted to have all of you to join us for this excellent webinar. I'm not going to take too much time. And what I would do though is that we'll go to the next slide, Prakashi. So today's agenda is basically, I will introduce the speakers for this afternoon, and I will ask Mr. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐻 to guide us on several things that are, we're hearing questions from the audience through the survey that we have done. And then we will also answer some of the questions that we received through the survey that we've done. And if any of you have any questions, you can post on the Facebook Live. We will try to address those as well. And then I will ask our Consul General, Dr. Swati Kulkarni, to share her thoughts and give us some guidance on it. And we will close the session with some remarks. The goal for this session is very simple, that as we are all in the COVID-19 unprecedented situation, through this webinar, we would like to make sure that we communicate to you something that you all need to take care, to care for the people. And through that, we want to build the confidence, and we want to cooperate and also collaborate with various organizations. So my name is 𝐒𝐻𝐼𝐚. I'm a Sehwa volunteer, and I've been in the Atlanta for the last 20 years and in the US for 30 years. Rashi, next slide, please. So Sehwa has been working with various organizations, and all the organizations who have been able to share their logos as of this afternoon, 3 o'clock. Those are all shown on this slide that you're seeing on the screen. And in addition, we also have several organizations. In the last 10 days, we have reached out to about 800 organizations to help collaborate with everyone to help take care of the need in the society. And those names, some of them are listed in the next slide. I will quickly go through that. Next slide, please. So it's very hard to read all the names. And in the interest of the time, as I said, out of 800 that we have been able to reach to date, we have about 200 plus have already pledged their support through this activity that we have initiated. And the more and more pledges continue to come. And our goal in the next week or so to reach out to 1,000 organizations to help the need in the society. Next slide, please. Next slide. So I will share briefly about the Sehwa International. So Sehwa International has been in existence in the United States for more than 15 years, and about 40 chapters, more than 1,000 plus volunteers throughout the country. And our mission is very simple. We want to serve the humanity in distress and aid local communities, run development projects for the underserved, and assist people in transformational change through the power of innovation and mobilizing the partners, donors, and the volunteers. And as you can see, along with this mission, we are here in this unprecedented situation, working on various activities. We have helpline set up. We have 50 plus clinicians, as well as the lawyers and psychologists helping through the phone line to various people who are giving us a call and asking for the help. We are also providing PPE, which includes a mask, commercial as well as the homemade, to various clinicians in the hospitals who are on the forefront to take care of the need. Likewise, we also have several webinars. This is one of the webinars to help educate on various topics that are relevant to the current situation that we are in. So as a part of the outreach, as I said, we have been working with various organizations, and many of you are on the live right now. We really appreciate your help. We look forward to working with you to help the community that you all represent, so that we all can be stronger, more confident, and come out of the situation that we are all in. Next slide, please. Can you go back, please? So it is my pleasure and honor to introduce two distinguished speakers this afternoon, and many of you know them. I'm going to start off with Mr. Shailesh Lakataria. He's the consul in charge of the political and the consular. He is from Lucknow, and he got his BA from Lucknow University, and he also has LLB. And he started working in the Ministry of Commerce back in 1984. He was there through 87. And since 1987, Mr. Shailesh has taken several assignments with the Indian Foreign Services in the MEA. And between 1987 and 2018, he has traveled pretty much entire country, I would say, our entire world, in various countries, including Libya, Kazakhstan, Bahrain, Mongolia, and many places. And since August 2017, he has been in Atlanta, serving the community, serving the Ministry of External Affairs, and taking care of the needs. I also had a pleasure to work with Mr. Shailesh in the last 2 years on various programs here in Atlanta. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Swati Kulkarni, our Honorable Consul General of Atlanta here. Dr. Kulkarni, she is a career diplomat. She also has an M.B.B.S degree. She joined Indian Foreign Services in 1995. And prior to joining here in Atlanta in 2018, she held various positions. And most of you, all of you know, 2014 to 2018, she was in Mumbai as a regional passport officer. And prior to that, she was in South Africa, Muscat, and UK, and many other places. So with that, I'm going to request Mr. Lakataria to share with us some guidance and the support during this situation. What we have done is basically in the last 3 days, we have sought questions and the concerns from all of you, not only in the Southeast, but also all over the nation. And Mr. Lakataria will try to address those questions and the concerns. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Shailesh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Sehwa, for coordinating this effort. Thank you for reaching out to us. And this gives us an opportunity to interact with the Indian diaspora and try to address their concerns and guide them in these difficult times. There are a lot of organizations who have come together with Sehwa for this effort, and I must thank all of them for joining this this procedure today. We are having this event. My job basically today is to delve upon some key issues which are facing the community in this COVID-19 situation. So I would go through some selected topics, which are like the main topics, the main areas which the Indian diaspora is worried about and have concerns. So I will pick up those topics one by one, and I would request all to listen very carefully what is going on and what we are doing and what we can do about this current crisis. So let me pick up the first question or the first topic, which is the consular services. These relates to the passports, to the visas, to the OCIs, and to the registration of documents. Currently, we are not issuing OCIs like kind of put on hold right now. So they are not being entertained. Similarly, e-visas stand cancelled. So people who have emergencies, real emergencies, they have to come up with a special request and can help them with a visa. But we have to look into it more closely before we do that. Similarly, passport services also, we are issuing them on an emergency basis. So when we have a passport request, we have to come up with a certain situation explaining your difficulty or your emergency for your passports. Currently, the consulate is working on a very limited staff for very limited time. So our services are therefore curtailed for the time being. So consular services we are doing on an emergency basis only. The most important thing which we are not delaying and we are trying to do it on regular basis is the attestation of documents. Something like power attorney or some attestation of other documents, issue of certificates like life certificate for people who require for their pensions. So these documents we are entertaining, but we are entertaining them by post only. So there is no walk-in. So when you have any document to be attested, please send it to us by post and we will attest and send it back to you. So this service is being done on a regular basis. So there is no delay or any kind of a difficulty for the people at large. Let me repeat, visas, including e-visas, stand temporarily closed. OCI services closed, and visas only those which have any emergent situation they can be granted. But we still wonder how one can travel even if you've got to grant a visa. However, this is the one facility, but it is quite restricted. Passport facility also quite restricted. So attestation of documents not restricted, and it is open anyone can enjoy this benefit. So these are the consular services which we are doing right now. Let me come to the other issue which the community has been approaching the consulate regarding their own visas, whether it is B1, B2, whether it's J1, M1, F1. There are various kinds of visas. There people are here on temporary visas for various purposes. They are running out of the validity of the visas or the extension of the time which they have to leave the country when they are on such visas. So they are approaching the consulate for help. Now, this issue was taken up by our embassy with the US government, and we understand that USCIS is not in a position to give a blanket approval for such cases. However, they do advise people to apply for extension of visa. Now, this is very important. Before the current expiry of the visa, one should approach the USCIS for the extension of visa. There is a page on which one can log on and do this process. And I would request all of you who have this issue to apply for the visas well in time before the expiry of the current visa. Because if it expires, then it becomes a difficult situation. So before it expires, try to apply online for the extension. You may hear from USCIS or you may not hear from them, but I think it is from your own part, you should do this process. If you have difficulty doing it, do try to consult your fellow colleagues, your friends, maybe consult an attorney, or if you are a student, consult your student advisor, somebody in your university or college or school, wherever you are, and people will be happy to help you on this. But the strong advice is people who have a limited validity visa, they should go for an extension right now if they think they cannot leave the country during the prescribed time. At all times, one should have the proper visa to be within the status. If you run out of status, things become difficult. We would like to impress upon the Indian diaspora here that visa is the prerogative of the US government and not the Indian government. So we have pleaded on your behalf with them, and they are, I think, considering it positively. But as I said, there is no blanket approval for this. So they will consider each and every case on its merits. But on your part, please do apply for extension of visa while your current visa is still there. Do not let it expire first and then apply. The normal process is you must be having a visa or must be having documents to prove that you have applied for extension of visa. This is very important. This may help you in your stay here or when you leave the country for India or elsewhere. The third issue which we have, and we have a lot of requests for this, is like queries like, when are the flights starting for India? Is there any evacuation plan? Are there any chartered flights? So these questions are like coming to us on a regular basis, and we would like to say that Air India is not operating currently, and as most of us are aware, till 14th April, there's the ban on international commercial passenger flights. So this ban is there till 14th April, and we do not know as of now whether this ban is going to be extended or not. If there is any news of anything or of any sort, like the ban will be lifted or be extended, we will put on websites this advisory on what has happened, and you can then plan your travel accordingly. So please keep checking our website from time to time for the various updates and advisories being put on, and this will help you plan your travel. As of now, the government of India has no evacuation plan. That is what we understand. But if there is any, we will certainly put this information on the website, and it will be for the public, for the people to see and to plan their travel in case there is any. But as of now, there is no plan for evacuation. There is also no plan as of now regarding operation of any chartered flights to India. So even if regular airlines are not operating, chartered flights are also not there. Passenger flights are not there. Just for the information of the people, the commercial flights are not banned or not barred from operating. So commercial cargo can move between India and US. That is possible. Let me impress upon the people that we have been hearing from different groups that there are like fake news and rumors that chartered flights or this evacuation flights are being planned. Well, please do not believe them. Look at our advisories in our website, or look at the Indian Embassy Washington website, and you'll find the genuine, correct stuff, that what we are doing or what is being done and what is the present position on the current situation. So if there are any flights, I'm sure we will just announce it to the general public, and the way they will be handled in case there are any. So you are requested to check these websites from time to time, and you'll get a better idea about how you should go about your future travel. So let me come to the next thing, which is like medical assistance. Now, some people here who are like students and visiting relatives or parents who are here and they have finished their medication or about to finish, and or those who have running very limited insurance, health insurance, so they are having issues about medical assistance. Now, I would say that in this effort, API has come forward and offered its assistance. So if you have any issues about medical assistance, you can write on this email, covidready@gmail.com. There will be a response on this, and then there's also kind of a link where you can find some free clinics or something like that. So medical assistance is available. I would say not too much or in the regular course, but at least some limited facilities there. You can also write to us, and we'll try to see where you can find a doctor for a prescription, or how, in what way we can help you with the medicines. But there is a possibility that some help may be available for medical assistance. You can also check on your neighborhood. There are various apps, neighborhood apps and things like that, where you can find free clinics or something like that. So one can also approach them and get assistance. So one has to look around for some assistance, and I'm sure it will be there. Of course, there are community organizations, and one can always approach them for assistance. And there are doctors, and plenty of doctors have come forward very generously and tried to offer their help, their assistance, and whatever best they can provide to anybody who is in need of such assistance. So my request is that when we have this issue, so please try to look around. You can approach us and we'll try to guide you and help you. But there is a limited kind of medical assistance always available. If you have a COVID-19 situation, if you think that you are sick, of course, please be guided by the health advisories being issued by the local authorities and by various other authorities, how to go or how to handle such situations. So please take care of yourself, and we would be happy to assist if anybody needs such assistance. The third thing, or rather, the next thing is that we have some people who approach us for accommodation. They have issues for accommodation regarding their dorms or the places where they're living, and they do not know what to do. So I'm happy to say that some of our hospitality group, they have come forward and offered their assistance to provide accommodation on a very reasonable basis. And these are like Peachtree Hospitality Management. There's like Sonesta ES Suites. Then of course the famous Asian American, what is, and the National Corporate Housing, and OU USA, Hilton Garden. So various organizations have come forward to offer assistance on accommodation. So if you have any issues about that, you can approach them and they will be happy to help you with accommodation issues. The students in particular, if you have issues about their dorms and all, we can guide them to look for accommodation in their dorms or some other places nearby where they can be suitably stay till the situation gets normal. We have also one big such situation developing up in our neighborhood. It is regarding the Indian crew on the cruise ships, basically in the Florida region, and there are thousands of them on the cruise ships, and they're not allowed to come on land, and they have they're quite worried about the situation, what will happen. So we are in regular touch with these cruise lines and with the local authorities and with our own government, and we are trying to see how best we can try to resolve this situation because as far as we understand, the Florida is actually under great strain as far as health facilities are concerned. So they are detaining only critical cases or like confirmed cases, and not everyone has access to that. But certainly this is something which you're trying to resolve, and we think that we can come up with some plan in the near future. Some people have also inquired, and out of good faith, for helping our country in India towards by way of finance. For that, most of the people are aware that there is a PM CARES fund, which people can contribute. And if people want details, we can always share those details where they can pay online to that. You can use a debit card or credit card, you can use internet banking, you can use UPI, Bheem, Phone Pay, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, Paytm. You can make an RTGS or any EFT transaction. So there are the details of this PM CARES fund, and we can help people if they want to contribute to this fund, which is by and large meant for the welfare of the Indian people in India by the through this fund. As you know that our economy currently is facing a lot of difficulty, and the PM is quite worried about it. He's paying a lot of attention. So do other states and other chief ministers and various authorities, they are paying a lot of attention to the welfare of the people. And if anybody is contributing to these funds, I'm sure that will be a very good gesture on their part. So with this, I'm coming to close to my presentation, but there's one thing very important for these students in particular. The students are advised, strongly advised, to visit the Indian Embassy Washington's website. You'll find the student hub there, and it has detailed advisory for the students. You should go through it. It gives a lot of suggestions and guidance about how students can try to find solutions to their problems. I'll just show you this in a way. It is this advisory, so it is there. You can have a look at it. It is running in 3-4 pages, and it's just in detail about what you can do or what are the resources available to you if you have a situation. So all the students, they are advised to visit this, register themselves, and get updates from time to time about the situation. So with this, I think I have covered most of the major items which we are facing, or major things which are facing in today's COVID-19 pandemic situation.
Thank you, Shailesh. There are a few questions that we have received through the survey, and I'm going to read one at a time. And if you won't mind answering few questions in the interest of the time, so we'll take few that I know that multiple people have submitted. So there's one from Rahul from Atlanta. His question is that I'm 84-year-old and my wife, who is 75. We are in Atlanta and we're scheduled to fly back to India on 21st March. We were not able to fly back to India due to travel restrictions introduced by India. We are on B2 visa and our I-94 expired on March 26th. Can you help in this situation? Can you give us some guidance as to how it can be extended for at least 3 months until we are able to fly back? So Shailesh.
Dear Rahul, as I already mentioned before, this issue regarding visa is handled by the US government. It is there in India. So as I mentioned, one should visit the USCIS and try to take the extension of visa. You should apply there and try to fill in all the necessary information and keep the documents ready that you have applied online for the parents or for your, I think, for yourself actually, and your wife. So whenever you are good to go, that time you don't face much difficulty or no difficulty, I guess. So that is it. But one must always be in position of either a legal visa or if not some document to prove that he or she has applied for visa. That's it.
Thank you, Shailesh. The next question is from Tennessee. It's from Sanjeev. His question is that, is there any evacuation flight from US to India being planned?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, as of now, we have no information about any evacuation flight. If there is any information or if there are any plans of the government to have an evacuation flight, certainly we'll be informing it through our various media like social media, maybe website and other things, and or emails to different associations and organizations. So we'll be announcing that. But as of now, today there are no plans for evacuation. We are not aware about any such plan. What the current thinking is with the government is that travel should be avoided. This is for two reasons. First of all, you are a COVID carrier, COVID-19 carrier, you are likely to infect others if you travel, especially the air travels or any kind of travel. And if you are not a carrier yourself, you are likely to get infected when you travel. So both ways, it is like a risk to people who are traveling. One can easily imagine the situation because even in India, internal air travel and interstate travels, these have been like banned and there are no government facilities available for this. So people should avoid traveling as far as possible and let the situation come to normal. And when we hear that things are normal and it's safe to travel, then only you should travel or plan your travel accordingly.
Thank you, Shailesh. There are quite a few questions, as you can imagine. And I'm just going to pick one, which is representative of many questions that we received through online survey, as well as currently live on the Facebook. So this question is from Jugalji. And his question is that for USA citizens with recently expired USA passport, but they have the valid US OCI. But just in case they have to travel to India for any emergency, whether there is a health or other emergency, what should they do? And obviously he's hoping that it doesn't arise, but in case they have to travel emergency, what would your advice would be? How can they do it?
Well, it's a kind of an imaginary question, but it could be a real-time one also. At the same time, I would say, but travel at this stage is extremely difficult, I would say impossible. Even if you get a visa, you will not be able to travel. So that is it right now. And we are coming across some kind of emails and other things from people that they are having a lot of difficulties in India and they want to travel in emergency, but they're not able to travel. I can imagine their plight. I can imagine their difficulties. We can sympathize with them, but there is no way where one can travel to India right now.
So thank you, Shailesh. We have a couple of more questions. I'm so sorry that because of some technical difficulties, we have to cut it down a little bit. So there's one question from Premal, who is here on a business trip. He was supposed to go back and he's on B2 and his B2 visa expires on 12th May 2020. So because of the travel restriction, he can't get back. So he's basically stranded and have no money and food and the shelter. So is there any way he can get an extension in the visa? And he's asking for any help in our guidance in that area.
Yeah, so in this situation, as I said, for people who have come as a visitor on B1, B2, they can certainly apply for extension. And they may not get the extension, but still keep the documents ready that they have applied for it. So that is one. So visa should be taken care of by that process. If they have problems regarding food and accommodation, of course, we can help the local community or the local Indian organizations. They are there anytime to help such persons who are in this situation or difficulty, whom they never imagined they would be in such situation. So there are various organizations, and I'm sure right now, even with Sehwa, through this webinar, so many organizations have joined this effort, and any one of them can be approached, and they will be happy to help him with maybe some simple basic food and accommodation, and help him stay here, stay safe, as long as the situation demands.
So Shailesh, again, there are quite a few questions, but I'm going to pick one, and I'm sure many other people probably are facing the similar situation. This question comes from Megha. So her question is that my father-in-law has a chronic condition, and he is a dialysis patient. He has traveled to India for a couple of weeks, and he was supposed to come back. And he is also has been on a portable oxygen. We are unable to send any medication from here, obviously. So I think her question is trying to see if there is any support that he can seek from the people in India or from the government of India. Are there some guidelines can you give us?
Yes, I'm sure there are a lot of people in India itself who need medical attention for various purposes, like if they are having problems with the kidney or heart or liver or any other kind of. There are not only COVID-19 patients in India, but there are so many other people who are having medical problems, and they also need medical attention and sometimes critical care also. So there are like various hospitals in India or various associations who can be approached and various organizations who can help them overcome this difficulty. But right now, from the consulate's point of view, we do not know anyone in particular who could be able to do that. But if you were to write to us, or you could try to find out if there is any help available for the father.
Thank you, Shailesh. I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts on some of the common topics and taking these questions that are coming online. But what I would request to all the viewers and all the listeners, please go ahead and send your questions, and we'll try to compile those and hand it over to CGI office. And if there are something that are not being addressed today, we'll try to get back with the answer. So with that, I'm going to now request Honorable Consul General Dr. Swati Kulkarni to share her thoughts and guide us on the unprecedented situation that we are in, and what are the things that we all need to know, and how the CGI and the Ministry of External Affairs are trying to take care of the needs in not only in the US, but also maybe all over the world. With that, Swati ji.
Thank you, Ajay ji. Good evening to everybody. See, we know that this is a big health crisis. In fact, it's much more than the health crisis. We know that it's a crisis on the social and economic front also. And as far as the consulate is concerned, we do have our challenges. For us, the health and safety of our staff is also important. So we are taking certain hygienic strict measures to keep our staff healthy, so that they can function in the optimal way in a roster which we have worked out. So with the skeletal staff, we are working in the consulate, and with that, if we are little delayed in delivering some services or addressing your concerns, then little late than usual, please bear with us. We are doing our best possible under the circumstances. So far, we have addressed about 500 plus emails and telephone calls with our meager staff. And still we are counting, and we are making all-out efforts to get in touch with people, answering the emails, telling them answers, guiding them, those sorts of things. So for students especially. So that also we are doing. And we remain in our steadfast commitment that people in our jurisdiction will get the necessary advice, assistance, whatever in the best possible way we can give. So as you know, this is a situation which just doesn't have a written template, or it just doesn't have any precedent. So as situation evolves, we are giving our advisories, we are giving our helpline numbers, we are answering the way we are getting guidance from ministry. So in ministry also, we have established COVID cell, which is working 24/7. They are telling us what exactly is the government position is, how ICMR is doing, how Ministry of Health and Family Welfare is functioning. So we do get information from them, and they tell us what exactly, if the issue is some challenging or something, they guide us what exactly we have to tell the people, and how to answer certain queries which we feel difficult. So we are taking their guidance, we are taking our embassy's guidance, we are delivering the best possible answers to the people in our jurisdiction. So my colleague has already answered those various issues which we are regularly getting queries from people. So that we are doing. But I will still say that do remain in touch with our social media handles, our website, because this situation is constantly evolving. So it does require a little follow-up there. And during this prevailing situation, like in across the globe, you have seen that WHO is talking, CDC is there, US government has its own measures, Indian government have their measures. So various governments are taking series of temporary measures, and all these are temporary measures. And we understand the anxiety, we understand the concern of our people on the visa front, on work authorization, on traveling back. So all these things, we understand that we have to have a little cautious and balanced approach, because these are temporary measures. And you know that India is taking all these measures with limited resources. Our Prime Minister, he is talking with stakeholders, he is constantly trying to talk with our chief ministers and all other important people, and giving the informed decision for us bureaucrat to implement on ground. Then also we have seen impressive lockdown in India, the social distancing. We have also seen unveiling of social welfare programs for the people who need it most. So if we do anything wrong at this point, all the gains we have made, they will be lost. And that's why government is telling us, for us, we are, you can call us soldiers on the ground, that telling us that please tell people that they should remain stay put where they are, because there are no commercial flights, there are no chartered flights, there is no evacuation. So people should stay, because the lockdown in India is up to April 14th. And we just don't know yet whether it will be extended, whether it will be staggered. All those things we will come to know shortly. So these, we again tell people that you must follow us for any advisories, for any whatever distress you have, you must write to us on our email, which is there on the helpline. And you can also see the GOI advisories, like our government is putting on Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So that is one I wanted to emphasize. Then second thing is, you all know that situation is evolving. So it requires a review all the time by the experts, by the people who are involved with this particular crisis. So the government is constantly trying to see the best option possible for its citizens, for its people. And that's why we are also giving you the advisory, because recently you saw we have given a very elaborate advisory for students on April 8th. And it gives them various advice on how to remain off campus, temporary measures, those particularly on visa and work authorization. So all this, see, we also know that visa is prerogative of US government. But like the US Department of Homeland Security, it is a counter part of our FRRO. So you have to apply there online. If they answer you or not, that is different, because they are also working with the skeletal staff. So the person who has this issue of extending the visa or work authorization, they must apply online. They must keep those documents ready with them, because at least then US authorities, they know that you don't have any mala fide intention, you are bona fide people, so that then they will not have any other those penal provisions or anything like that. So we will urge everybody, that is those who are having extension issues, they must apply on WWUSICS, where there is a link where they extend your visa. Then you should also go on WWICE, that website also, so that they have a COVID link there, so that you know exactly what's happening in this country. So that is also important. And for students, we have India Students Hub, we have peer support line. Those lines also students must regularly avail of if they feel that they need some assistance from our side. So that's there. And again, for students, they should not believe in any rumors. We do not have any evacuation planned. And if it is planned, our advisories will immediately reflect that decision. So please, again, that remain in touch with our social media handles, so that you know exactly what is the correct information which is being disseminated by the government of India. And last, the third important point for me is here to impress upon everybody is to keep healthy and stay healthy, because see, social distancing, we never thought that word will become so important in this crisis, but it is there. Then we have to have this, prevention is better than cure. So you have to have boost your immunity, like drinking hot water, then washing hands, steam inhalation, and things like that, which is taught by our age-old Ayurveda and things. This will help in having your immune system boosted. That will help in countering this attack when it happens, when the virus, if at all it comes. So these things also will help you in keeping healthy. And if at all you have flu-like symptoms, then you must approach the doctor. And Association of Physicians of Indian origin, the American Physicians of Indian origin, which we call API, they have come forward and they have given one email which we have disseminated to people, and that's covidreddy@gmail.com. So you can write to them. They can give you immediate advice. Then there are clinics which are giving free services, which are there, like www.nfscclinics.com. That link is there where they will give you free clinics. So all these things will help you. And more, you should also be aware of emergency responders in your area, so that you know where to approach, where to go, and how to go. So last but not least, be safe, stay safe. We need your cooperation, we need your understanding, we need your patience, so that we fight it together. So thank you for giving us opportunity to talk with everybody, take the questions, and so that we could reassure them. So thank you for Sehwa, thank you to Sehwa International and so many other organizations who have readily agreed to come along with you. Thank you.
Swatiji, thank you so much for taking the time in your busy schedule, and Shailaji for sharing the guidance and the various tips related to various things, whether it's the consular services, travel emergency situation going to India, or supporting the students, for example, or any medical support that they can get it here, and including our fellow citizens who are going to be coming on this commercial ship and will be landing pretty soon, how to take care of them. And more than anything, I think a lot of people have also reached out to us as well as to the consular office as to how they can support the people back in India financially. So lastly, I think what I would say, just to echo what Swatiji was saying, is that, alone Sehwa International, one single individual or few organizations cannot take care of this thing, because we were never prepared, and certainly the needs continue to arise. I would request each and every organizations to join us in this movement to recover from this distress that we all are surrounded with, and want to rebuild the confidence, because I believe that collectively when we put together, we can take care of a lot of needs. So again, going back to what Swatiji was saying, that, let's follow the restraint. Let's make sure that we follow the safety guidelines, the CDC sharing, and other individuals. Let's cooperate. Let's share the best practices. I'm sure you all have some thoughts. You all have some best things that you have learned through your own experience. And so is Sehwa. So we would like to work with you, and we want to collaborate. And as I said, at the beginning, though we have embarked on several activities, that is not it. I believe that there are going to be more and more needs, and we are looking forward to working with you. Again, Swatiji and Shailaji, thank you for taking time. And I also would like to thank all the supporting organizations. There are about 250 throughout the nation. And more than anything, the volunteers, each and every individual, not only taking care of their own profession, their family, their relatives, they also taken time to give back to the society in this extremely tough situation. So with that, I think we are going to end the call. And again, I'm so sorry that at the beginnings we had some technical challenges with the Zoom, but we'll try to do a better job next time. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.